Well. It's Saturday, January 3rd. It's noon Eastern time. I'm Bob Harris. Happy New Year for the anything live stream. Before we get to the questions, as always, I'd like to remind you, footballguys.com. That's the website of choice. Appreciate you've been joining me here every Saturday at this time. We'll see what happens today. I don't know if, here's the thing about week 18, right? Not everybody's playing, but everyone who is playing is super invested. The decisions are harder than they've ever been. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge for us to sort through stuff. We'll do the best we can at getting you there. But I've appreciated you all coming here every week. Good morning to all the regulars. Jim, how are you, Jim? Royal Slade, thanks for your ongoing support. And many others. I don't want to mention too many because I'll not mention everybody. But, man, super appreciative that everyone's come here and had a good time. Appreciative of the people in the chat helping each other out, getting the questions I can't get to. All that stuff has been fantastic. But we do have some work to do today, so we'll get to that before we start sitting around slapping each other on the back and making happy talk. Hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, hit the like button if you like. Feel free to dislike as well. I won't be doing the weekly lives through the playoffs, but I will be doing lives. Hello, Scampers. Hello, Dame. Thanks for coming. And so, but I will be back from time to time. So I'll try to come up with some kind of reasonable schedule, put it out on my social feeds, get it into Football Guys email, all that kind of stuff. It's been a great season, Football Guys. Hope you've enjoyed and appreciated that. You can still hear me on the radio through the Super Bowl. Mike Dempsey and I on Sirius Fantasy Sports Radio. Hello, Lester. 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time will be the time. Weeknights. There will be no Saturday show. Tonight there is a Saturday show. Not tonight. Today, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. Dempsey and I will run you up and get you into the first game. And then Sunday, there will be a final pregame show with me and Jeff Mans on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, 11 a.m. Superchargers, 21-17. Great to be a champion. Thank you for coming all season. We're geeked up for next year, too. We're already working on next year. I can assure you that. Happy New Year to everybody as well. It's been a wild ride this year. I feel like the variance has been more than anything. But again, so on the radio, daily podcast is done. Dempsey and I wrapped up the last one Friday. Thanks for listening to that. If you did, that was a lot of fun to do. Hope you found it helpful. We'll probably be working that. I see Royal Slade asking the question that we all want to know. Start thinking of this. I want to read through these here after I go through the injuries because I have a resolution I will share with you. It's the same resolution I have every year, and it's one I almost never am able to hold up to. So looking forward to trying that again this year, as always. There's a fantasy notebook, and fantasy notebooks runs all off season. There's an in and out column that was just published for week 18. It's tricky, right? We all know we're taking our chances if we're playing this week. Many of them through the stuff. Jeff Bell did a great article at footballguys.com. You'll find it here now, where he basically runs through the motivation team by team. He also has one for players with incentives. That's very interesting as well. So don't miss that. Check those out on the site, available now. Saturday games today, the 4:30 p.m. Eastern time game. Carolina to Tampa Bay. David Morris got an elbow injury. He's questionable. Jatavian Sanders was placed on IR, broke his ankle last week. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, everyone's good to go that we're interested in. There are playoff implications for both teams, right? Everybody's vying for the NFC South here. So there's a lot of permutations I'm not going to get into, but just know that both teams have something on the line. Same with the Seattle-San Francisco game. No injuries for the Seahawks. San Francisco, George Kittle, questionable with the ankle injury that sidelined him last week, is expected to play. He says he will. I think he will. Playoff implications again for both teams. Ricky Pearsall, same boat, knee and ankle issues. I expect him to play. On the Sunday games, New Orleans and Atlanta, Saints will be without Alvin Kamara. They'll be without Chris Olave. Had blood clots discovered in his lungs, so they'll get that cleared up. Spencer Rattler is questionable. It doesn't matter. He has been relegated to backup duty by one Tyler Shuck, who seems like he's heading into a second season as the locked-in starter. So that's exciting. And Mason Tipton is out. He's on IR, so our top receiving assets for Tyler Shuck this week, aside from Juwan Johnson and maybe Otter Testame, the running back, Dante Pettis, Kevin Austin Jr., Ronnie Bell. DFS cheapness will abound on the other side of the ball. Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, knees all across the board. All are questionable. All are expected to play. At least Raheem Morris says they will. No playoff implications here, but the Falcons could wind up in a three-way tie for the NFC South title. They would lose the tiebreaker at best, but they still have something to kind of play for in draft position for everybody, obviously, but for playoff implications. Cleveland and Cincinnati, there's nothing on the line for either team. Harold Fannin Jr. and David Njoku, both tight ends are out. I wouldn't go digging any deeper than that, people. Like, check your daily site for an outlier tight end, but there are other minimally priced tight ends as well. Cincinnati, Cam Grandy, he's tight end, he's questionable. Charlie Jones, ankle injury, he's out. Joe Burrow, they say will start. They say Cincinnati, I think, would like to finish the season with a third win in a row. Joe Burrow wants to be happy. I want Joe Burrow to be happy. I hope they get something done here. Cleveland, a lot of talk about the coaching change that may be coming or not. We'll see. Green Bay at Minnesota. Nothing really on the line for either team. Packers locked in their playoff spot. They're going to start Clayton Tune. Malik Willis is questionable. Jordan Love cleared. Clayton Tune starts at quarterback. That kind of probably tells you where they're at. Dontavian Wicks is doubtful. He will not play. Savion Williams is out. He also will not play. And again, Malik Willis is questionable, but not going to play. Minnesota. Gavin Bartholomew out. TJ Hawkinson out. Miles Price out. And Aaron Jones is out as well. So I missed Aaron Jones on my list. JJ McCarthy will start at quarterback. There's nothing on the line for either team, but we'll see what happens there. Dallas at New York. The Cowboys will be without Malik Davis and Javonte Williams, both ruled out. So Jaden Blue probably gets a run here. Maybe Phil Maffa. He's on IR, must be activated today to play. We'll hope that happens. New York Giants, Jalen Hyatt's got an illness. He's questionable, should go. Theo Johnson and Wan'Dale Robinson, however, will not. It's a great matchup. Nothing on the line for either team. You wonder how long the Cowboys will play their starters. There's probably some incentives and numbers they'd like to hit. If they get up big, maybe Dallas will pull starters, but they'll have to get up big to get there, or maybe not. Maybe just get up. So this one's tricky to me. I had a one-and-done draft last night where I could have taken CeeDee Lamb, and I just avoided him with some other options and teams with the games on with teams with that are playing games with something on the line. I don't know how it'll work out for me or not, but I think all those starters will play, and at least we'll see how much they can do. Tennessee at Jacksonville. Titans will be without Gunnar Helm. Get your Chick Okonkwo on. He's out with a toe injury. Van Jefferson has a forearm injury that he will sideline him the rest of the year. Bryce Oliver could return, must be activated from IR. The Jaguars, everybody's good to go, including Bachel Tootin. Playoff positioning, including a possible number one seed on the line for Jacksonville. Titans have nothing on the line. They're already trying to figure out who their next coach is going to be. Indianapolis at Houston. Colts will have no Will Mallory or Anthony Richardson. They'll start Riley Leonard at quarterback. Houston, everyone's good to go. Houston's in the chase for the division title. Colts, nothing on the line. Sunday late afternoon window. And the NFL timed these all out delightfully, right? So that nobody really knows. Everyone has to play it out as much as they have to play it out, right? That'll be tough. It'll be interesting to see. But most of the games that are played are played in an order that forces everyone to play if they have to play, right? So congrats to them for that. I appreciate that. And I know we all do. Thank you, NFL. New York and Buffalo. Jets, no Isaiah Davis. Breece Hall's questionable. Mason Taylor's out. Tyrod Taylor questionable. Jelani Woods out. They're going to start Brady Cook again. Buffalo Bills. Dalton Kincaid is questionable. Outlook uncertain there. I was limited all week, same as last week. Seems like it doesn't seem likely he'll play. Buffalo can improve their playoff seeding, but circumstances could allow them to pull their starters early. There's a lot of talk about Josh Allen. He's off the injury report, but is he healthy? Do they want to preserve him? They may pull him early. He does have a consecutive game started streak on the line. He wants to get it to 128. Jets have nothing on the line. Detroit at Chicago. Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, knee, questionable. Says he's going to play. Rome Odunze, questionable. I'm not so sure he will. Chicago can improve their playoff seeding. Lions have nothing on the line but finishing with a winning record. They do seem invested in getting there, so we'll see if that comes to pass. I do expect the starters to play. We'll see how, we'll talk about this a little bit on the Week 18, what playing to win can mean a lot of different things. Los Angeles at Denver, like Los Angeles could have playoff seeding on the line. They have something to play for, yet they plan to rest their starters. Trey Lance will start at quarterback. Omar has been ruled out. Hassan Haskins and Kamani Vidal are both questionable. But both practice fully on Friday. I'm guessing they'll play. Jaret Patterson probably also a possibility there. Denver, everyone we're interested in is good to go. Denver all in on pursuit of your number one seed. Kansas City at Las Vegas. Nobody's got anything here. Uh, Isaiah Pacheco, non-injury related. He's questionable. Didn't get a lot of work in this week, so I don't know what the deal is there. Xavier Worthy has an illness. He's doubtful. Don't expect him to play for the Raiders. Raheem Mostert, who is not the coach of the Atlanta Falcons, but the running back now for the Raiders, questionable. Outlook uncertain. Geno Smith's out. The Raiders are not telling us if Kenny Pickett or Aiden O'Connell. I don't know that it matters. Nothing again on the line for either team. Arizona, Los Angeles, Marvin Harrison Jr. out. He's placed on IR on Friday. Los Angeles, Devontae Adams questionable. I don't think there's any real question here. He's not playing. Blake Corum questionable, very uncertain. Short week. Can't imagine him playing on that ankle. Tyler Higbee is a questionable. Seems like he could be activated from IR to play, but nothing's locked in here. I don't know if they need to push him. Kyron Williams, questionable with an ankle. Seems likely he'll play. Rams could have seeding implications depending on the outcome of the Seahawks 49ers. Arizona, nothing on the line. A lot of talk about that coaching situation there as well. Miami at New England. Miami Dolphins have nothing to play for and acting like it. Devon Achane is doubtful, will not play. Jason Sanders, don't know that he'll be activated from IR. Jalen Waddle, questionable. Don't know that they'll push him into the game. Darren Waller's groin, he was placed on IR. He's done for the year. Riley Patterson will kick again if Jason Sanders doesn't. Patterson's been great. New England, Jack Westover, fullback, questionable. Seems likely he could play. New England has playoff seating on the line. They plan to play their starters. Miami has nothing, again, on the line. Washington and Philadelphia, the Commanders, no Jaden Daniels, no Marcus Mariota. Hello, Josh Johnson. Gets to start. Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Goedert ruled out. Philadelphia has playoff seating on the line, but confirmed key starters will sit out. Washington has nothing on the line. I expect to see a lot of Tank Bixby, maybe a little Will Shipley, maybe some Jahan Dotson, maybe some Tanner McKee, almost certainly some Tanner McKee. Sunday night, winning in for both teams, or lose or go home. Baltimore Ravens, Rashad Bateman, illness, questionable, outlooks optimistic. Steelers are in the clear. Lamar Jackson practiced all week fully, so a very important game. We'll see what happens there. I'm hoping for the best for all involved, including us. And now, let's see. Another year. Hey, Donnie, good to see you there. Appreciate you. One snap shouldn't count towards Allen's consecutive game streak. It should have ended last year. That is like play a series, right? All right, let's roll through some of the comments and whatnot here and see where we're at and see if you have actual questions about the games. I might have answers about them, but I don't know if they'll be good answers because, man, it's hard to know what to trust. We'll talk about play to win a little bit here. Coaches will say we're playing to win. Well, what's a win? A win, maybe a win on the field, maybe a win off the field, maybe going to the offseason is healthy is a win. Maybe improving your draft lot is playing to win, right? I don't trust what anybody is telling me this week, because it almost invariably turns out it's like going into the draft. Like 99% of what you hear is by definition BS, because everyone can't draft everyone. Well, a large percentage of what we hear this week will have been BS and proved to be BS. But there's some, but if you're playing, you still need to play, and you still need to make the best possible decision. So check out my rankings. They're available on the site. I've been updating them. I've been paying a lot of attention to them, and every time I look, I see things that I probably wish I had changed, and then I changed it. I see 5 more things that I wish I would had changed. So it's been interesting. We'll put it that way. But it's an ongoing process, and I'll keep it going throughout kickoff tomorrow. Keep it on top of everything. So no doubt everyone's looking for stuff. Some great articles again on the site right now. Passing matchups, rushing matchups, the usual, the in and out. Well, that's fantastic. Sigmund Bloom's offensive sleepers, Gary Davenport's close calls, tons of good stuff. Yes, Dame, congratulations on championships. Winning seasons are great things. Tell us more about that. Saw Superchargers 21-17 champion. Here's a resolution. So in case you missed it, Royal Slade asked everyone what their resolutions are. I'll share mine here in a minute. Let's look at some of yours. This is good. Follow one of my mantras that I play the game by is divorce the name from the numbers. That's very hard to do because when you divorce the name from the numbers, you're divorcing the history of the name. Like Justin Jefferson this year, we were still playing the name Justin Jefferson, right? Because we didn't divorce the numbers because we didn't want to divorce the history. Justin Jefferson's a great player, an all-time great player, or heading to be an all-time great player, right? He's proven to be quarterback proof. He is not apparently as quarterback proof as we hoped. It's been a lousy year for him. It's been a struggle. And so people who kept playing him were continuously disappointed. I'm not saying they were wrong to keep playing him. I kept playing him in some leagues, but you had to change your expectations. So yeah, following the trends, stats and data tell us, and stay adaptable, be open to making changes, be open to being wrong about your draft picks, right? That's always a struggle. Nobody wants to be wrong. I talk about this every year we head into the season. We tell ourselves these elaborate, happy stories to justify the draft stock we put into a player or to help us, not buy into players that maybe other people are more interested than us. And those narratives. So I always tell the same story. I used to write for Sports Illustrated way back in like 2000, the early 2000s. And Peter King also wrote there. And somebody asked Peter King, do you root for teams? And he said, no, we root for our stories. And fantasy investors are the same. We root for the stories we've told. You can see this with beat writers too, and not to cast aspersions here. I think it's just natural. If like a local observer has been in on a player, they tend to give that player a little more leeway, right? They've been building a narrative and they want that narrative to come true. They want to look smart. I do the same thing. You do the same thing. But there comes a point in the seasons where you have to let go of your narrative, let go of your story, pull the plug. It's not happening, but that's a hard decision to reach. And there are different ways that, different approaches we can make to that, right? We can like, okay, it can start with, I'm pulling this guy out of my starting lineup, to all the way for I'm dropping this guy because it's just not happening. All those things are part of this, following the trends, the stats, and the data. Hopefully you get the roster flexibility to stick with some of your convicted players, the people you expect. Look, if you drafted Chase Brown this year, or like at the tail end of let's say early round 2, you weren't getting that the first 8 games of the season. But since then, it's been fantastic. He's been a monster, especially down the stretch when it mattered most. That happy story you told yourself about Chase Brown came true. Just took some time to go through. So don't give up on players, but don't feel like, I think like a lot of times we keep starting players with, due to FOMO. We fear missing out on the big game. We'll feel stupid. We'll hate ourselves if God, I knew he was going to have that game at some point. Well, you don't have to play that game. Play the next one or the ones that are coming after that, hopefully, right? That's the battle that's kind of constant in fantasy football, right? Is, every week we have decisions to make about players. And I always say this, we're playing a range of outcomes with every player we put in our lineups. We're not playing a person. We're playing a range of outcomes that are associated with that person. And we're sitting around and we talk about it every week. And we talk about the minutia, the trends, the stats, and the data that lead us to believe that one end of the range of possible outcomes is more likely than the other, the high end or the low end. And so that's what the in and out column every week is all about. I'm trying to, I'm not saying you can't play people that I'm out on. I'm saying that I don't think they're going to hit the high end of their range of outcomes, right? So that's conversations, that's all part of this Good Point Superchargers 21-17. Royal Slade needs to keep working on my patience, less roster churning. Also, I need to figure out why my team's crapped the bed in the first round, then smash in the consolation brackets. There is a degree of luck to our game, and not all of it's good. I know we don't like to think that, right? Like, oh no, I mean, like, luck, I should be, but I wrote about this in last week's Fantasy Notebook. There comes a point in NASCAR, they talk about it. You'll hear a driver saying this after a big wreck. Well, at that point, I'm just a passenger. They pull their hands off the wheel and they just go for the ride. Man, you set your lineups, you're kind of a passenger, right? You're not calling plays, you're not throwing passes, you're not blocking anybody, you're not taping any ankles. All those things you cannot do. It's outside your control, and variance has become such a thing. I feel, and I'll look back at this, and maybe we'll talk about this at points during the off season. Like this seemed like a more volatile season than ever, right? Like the craziest, wildest outcomes. It always seems like that in the moment though, right? So I don't know that it was that, and we'll look at that and kind of examine and kind of figure out, what we can do. I mean, I don't, the battle against variance is a real thing, man. It's the battle, right? And so we all know that's part of the deal and that luck is part of it. But man, I would like to. I spend a lot of time every offseason trying to think of ways what kind of guardrail I install when I'm drafting or when I'm setting lineups. What kind of processes can I include that might alleviate or might help minimize the impact or mitigate at least the impact of variance? And I think about that when I'm drafting. Like I'll draft a more volatile player. I'll try to make a point of drafting another less volatile player, or try to figure out when to draft complementary players in that way. But it's a battle. I don't do as much roster churning as others because I'm in too many leagues and I'm got a bunch of work to do every. So I get I do not get as much time with my teams as I would like. One of my resolutions should be playing in fewer leagues. 100% should be that because I play in too many leagues. I don't do a great job. I have to draft really good and I have to have good luck with my picks in terms of injuries, etc. Because I'm not out there scouring the waiver wire. If you've ever been in a league with Mike Dempsey, you know that nothing is going to be waiting for you. And a lot of my leagues, Mike Dempsey's in. But also, I'm in a lot of industry leagues and people are playing for pride. There's a few that I try to focus on. Even those this year, I was horrible. Like some of the ones I focused most on were some of my worst. But the Kings Classics leagues, that was brutal. Some others I did really well and I'm very happy with. But the Dirt Dynasty League, Fabiano's league, I won that, and that was a bit of a slog because I was out of quarterbacks. Played Tyler Huntley last week. I had Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels for my quarterbacks in that league. Decent dynasty spot to be in, though. We got a question. Schultz or Barner at tight end in a PPR? I'm probably going to lean into Schultz as the more consistent play. Barner's got upside. But I think our projections are maybe a little higher on him than I am. Let me double check this. We got Schultz at 7 and Barner at 9. I'm not quite that high on Barner, though it's a good matchup, and I am really into Sam Darnold this week. But again, both in the top 10, so you can, pick your poison there. They're on the projections. There's like a half a point between them. It's not a wrong answer, but I prefer Schultz. The projections prefer Schultz. I prefer Schultz more than they do. Like it's a wider gap, but still not a wide gap. So that's kind of the direction we go there. Hello, Albert. Thanks for coming. A lot of time for shenanigans today. We love the shenanigans. Yeah, that's another thing. Like making desperation plays is a struggle. Or we get to that point where we're 0-4 and we start making, long-term moves when we really need just one or two really good short-term moves. I answer a lot of questions. Many of you are here for those questions, right? And you see what people are thinking. And sometimes we do. We should own this. We all have, and I do too. First in line, we will outsmart ourselves given half an opportunity. Right? This is the week that this is going to happen. Sometimes those kind of things can derail us pretty quickly too. Jeff Mann's my Sirius colleague, good friend, the co-host of the pregame show. He builds his depth chart. I don't know that I think about it that way, but I probably, without thinking about it that way, I think we're just like value-based drafting. I mean, value-based drafter, but it's more of a natural. That's how I draft, right? I remember the first time I talked to Joe Bryant about value-based drafting in 1996, I think it was. And in the discussion, and as he's explaining this to me, I'm going, yeah, that's what I do, but I didn't do the math, right? But still mentally, I think we all, it's there's kind of things that we do naturally like that. And so some of those things we should probably stick with, a little better in the season rather than taking some of the chances we take. Although I figure y'all are probably in multiple fantasy leagues. Are any of you interested in forming a league, a Bob Harris fan league? Oh my gosh. Let's see more about that. Yes, JJ McCarthy's career might be somewhat on the line. We'll see. I don't know where that's going to go, Dame, honestly. I've kind of been torn on that. The last couple games, 3 games have been pretty good. He got hurt last. He's looked better, but he should have looked better. It was horrible. It was minimal opposition, right? It was like Dallas and who else was it? Dallas, somebody else. The Giants were one of the teams. There were 3 like in a row that he had super easy matchups. So he should have done better. But also, I mean, we have some faith, or at least I have some faith in Kevin O'Connell and the offensive ecosystem they've developed there in Minnesota. But at some point, maybe they acknowledge they've made a mistake, or maybe they start hedging that bet with some offseason moves. I mean, Dempsey and I talked about this last night, and I don't know that it's like this is realistic because I don't know that everyone would go along. But like a Mac Jones or that level of player going to Minnesota, I mean, it would have to be a competition at that point, right? I mean, you're not just saying, "Hey, JJ McCarthy, you're our guy. We got Mac Jones, but you're it." Like, but we have seen some quarterbacks, kind of rejuvenate, reclaim their careers. Let's watch Trey Lance this weekend. Maybe he can put himself back on the map, right? Former first round pick, been around for a while, maybe benefits from some good coaching. We've seen some of these players, by the way. We've seen some players. Like I want to think of some quarterbacks that like have clearly benefited from coaching. Quinn Ewers, Tyler Shuck, some guys that are coming on that have really good offensive minded coaches who seem to have helped them out a fair amount. Malik Willis, let's throw him in that hat. He's probably made himself some money this year. RJ Harvey was a mistake drop. Couldn't wait for the takeover more. Never have happened had J.K. Dobbins not got hurt. We just don't know that. Hard to say. So, I mean, I think he was going to be a thing eventually, but I don't know if it would have been, as much of a thing this year. I think we all know Sean Payton is happy, perfectly fine using, multiple backs in his backfield, 2 backs and complementary backs. We've seen it throughout the course of his time in New Orleans. He always had a couple backs, right? So maybe we see that going forward. The draft and free agency and maybe J.K. Dobbins' recovery will tell us more. Harvey was good. I thought people were a little too high on him in the draft, and I don't have a lot of shares of him. But where I did, I'm damn glad I did. It was great playing him at the end of the season. Hi, Bob. Oh, back-to-back titles. Woo. Damn white leather, 55-51. Look at you go. And Matt Waldman and I will be on Monday morning. Looking forward to that. Thank you. I want to thank you for coming. Thank everybody for coming. I'm super grateful to have this platform. Super grateful to football guys for letting me carry on my career, after a big change in mine a couple years back. So, I mean, like nothing but thankfulness all around. So I thank you guys for giving me a little bit of feedback. This is, these weekly sessions here and my phone call radio. This is where you get in touch. Like, what are people interested in? What are they worried about? What are they thinking about? It's helpful for me creating the content. I want to create content that's useful to you, right? And I think that's probably a big goal. Maybe a reason I've been doing this 35 years or so. So 35? No, it's 30. What? This is my 34th, 33rd. Yeah. It's been a long time. More than 30 years, damn it. Henderson, the biggest mistake dropped this year, so I'm getting better. Season before it was Ladd and Bucky. I think the thing with Henderson was tough, Royal. I mean, it just didn't look like it was happening. I mean, you knew circumstances could dictate it, and maybe an injury would make it happen. So I'm not going to assuage you of your guilt. You should feel it, especially you. But yes, and we'll see. Like I do think just fantasy managers in general, we are ahead of the curve. We're paying close attention. So our misses tend to be early misses. We go too quick into a player, right? And like I think we do it a lot with rookies, and we see rookies have success, but not every rookie. Like we should have known Ashton Jeanty wasn't going into a great spot. I talked about it this summer. Like I don't have any shares of Ashton Jeanty. It was too expensive. I was getting Christian McCaffrey at that point. I was probably getting some Derrick Henry if he was available. But I think McCaffrey, by the way, it was a little bit of a rise. I mean, we had to make sure he was going to be ready to go or feel like he was pretty much ready to go. But I just felt like Jeanty was not going into a great offensive environment. Like, was this really going to be great? I expected him to run the ball more, but Chip Kelly, did things I didn't expect, and their offensive line wasn't great. And like, clearly Ashton Jeanty's a great player, but I can think back to the last time we saw, a guy that just jetted up the, I'd say straps the ADP rocket to his tail, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It just never happened for him, right? I think, obviously it's happened to a greater degree for Jeanty, but Henderson was one of those guys where we had huge expectations, right? And maybe as he gets more playing time, those expectations will come to pass. This year it wasn't. Have I looked into metal? Hold on. Hold on. I have not. I think you mentioned this. Like I get busy in the season. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, it's the series. Yes, yes. I have not seen it yet. Like, it's okay. Here's a secret. I don't really watch anything during the season. I mean, I have TV on, but I don't watch it. Like I'm working. Like I feel like if I'm not working, I'm like not doing you all a service, right? So I don't watch movies or go out or do things or watch TV shows. I do that in the off season though, and I will catch up with this. There's a lot of series. Mike Dempsey is a famous watcher of series and tells me all about them. And so I have a huge list of things that I need to watch that I have not watched, and I'll hope to catch up on all that starting very soon. And a lot of things I would like to catch up on. So let's see. Continue to play Ibuka was my mistake. The most important home league. That was there was a point where it had to end, right? I'm not saying like his run ended about week 5, but and playing him through maybe week 10, but after that I myself fell a little bit of prey to that. You love the shiny new thing. I feel like that too, but it's not true. Like, I don't think, again, we'll look at these things and take some time and put numbers together. I do know like ACL injuries were down this year, but maybe not on your team, right? I think part of it is the circumstances we find ourselves in any given time. Some things that maybe seems like the swarm is all around you when there's really not a swarm. It's just around you. As the rest of us are going, oh, this is not that bad. But yes, I think we'll look back on it. Concussions, I know we're down last year. We'll see if they're down again this year. There were some key ones. It seems like it takes guys longer to get cleared in a lot of cases. So we'll watch that. I think I will give it a shot. I just Google it. I've Googled it now twice. So last time you mentioned it and this time. And yes, it looks like something I would love. My resolution is do everything exactly the same way. My partner and I won our money leagues this year. I hope my timely information was a factor in that. Dempsey and I always talk about this. We say this, like football guys. I mean, I think everyone takes a similar approach. Like we're here to, my job is giving you the information you need to make the best possible decisions. And I know we sit here and talk every week. We make decisions, and you listen to my decisions, and I hope you don't like just take my decisions as gospel. Like I'm not right every time. I didn't win all my leagues. I am well informed. I put a lot of time and effort into it. I think I make great I think I lay out the facts right, but I mean, my job is not making your decision. My job is giving you the information you need to make the decision. And so that's my primary objective. I'll tell you what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm not shy about that. And so, but I do think that's interesting. And congratulations to you for getting the win. I know many really good players are come to this chat, and I love seeing that. I know Andrea, like every year, I marvel at the team she drafts. She just crushes her drafts, and it makes for super hard decisions during the season. But I love it. Oh, there's Donnie again. Happy to see you, Donnie. Pure puppy cock or poppycock? I drafted Burden and held on, finally producing the finals. This was a Matt Waldman, what I call a Matt Waldman special. I can remember talking to Waldman going into the season where, he would like to talk about him a lot because he thought he was like, at the end of the season, maybe he ends up being like the best receiver in Chicago. What's up, Matt Waldman? What's up, Wendy Early? Good to see you. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. I know that. Happy New Year, Wendy. Good to see you. I know that. Won the Money League, but had to overcome a Derrick Henry career night by having McCaffrey and Pretty Monday. Look, that's another thing. Like we all have to get over the fact that these big games that come out of nowhere. Like I overcame the Kyle Pitts 46 point game 3 weeks ago. I had, who did I have? I had to dig out of that hole. My shovel was Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had 40 points. I know that every week you feel like you get in these holes, but don't ever dismiss yourself. Keep, putting in your best lineup. Don't give up. Never surrender. Never say die. I won't say I won a game. Like I was talking to friends or we're texting and, they see that, like, oh, you're up by 50 and you're like, not over yet. I will never say it's over until it's over. I had Who did I have? I played against Bijan. I won against Bijan last week. There you go. I did have McCaffrey. I had Puka. Wasn't great games for either of them, but you can overcome these holes. So yeah, so you get these big games. I'm trying to think of who overcame the Henry game. I don't know. I know people did, but I don't know any of them. I don't personally. How far will quarterback be pushed down in industry leagues next year? Way low. Way low. It will be further than usual. We will be going back to late round QB. JJ Zacharyason's going to hang his shingle out again. Go from fantasy to QB, maybe. Yeah, it's going to be. We were talking about this a little bit, and I think it's going to be way low. I think we're all going to be taking chances on, or the guys that maybe we aren't taking chances on are just going to go later. I mean, Lamar Jackson's not going as early as he did. He's not going to be a third rounder, right? We've seen that. So, and we've seen some rookies rise up every year. I think some of the second year guys like Bo Nix maybe didn't do everything I expected. He landed about where I drafted him though. So, some of that is expectations, right? Like, hey, I'm in on this guy. He's going to be super special. Well, maybe he's just as good as he needs to be. And I'm not saying Bo Nix was, but he's about where I drafted him. Thank you, CJRIV-UF6LJ. That's a hell of a username. Who's my favorite rookie going into 2026 that will be your top target? I have no idea, Eddie. I'm going to come clean here. I watched 2 college football games this year. Arizona at ASU, which I watch every year. I'm from Tucson, and I watched the Arizona SMU game last night. I don't pay attention to it. I get caught up after the season. I'm paying attention to NFL and nothing but NFL during the season. So I will, though, start getting up to speed quickly. The Football Guys rookie draft guide will be out soon. I do a lot of work on that in terms of editing. So I get up on top of things. I'll be sitting talking to Matt Waldman every week. Like whatever I know about rookies right now is because Matt and I talk about them in passing. And I kind of ask them questions. So I don't want to sit here and pontificate on the subjects I don't know. But you give me a month and we'll start pontificating, or at least like my history of this, Eddie, is like I've always been someone who like put a helmet on, right? I want to, I'm not as interested in all the talk leading up to draft. I still have a lot of work to do. There's free agency, there's coaching changes, there's a lot to work on. I feel like 80+% of what I'm hearing pre-draft about a player is just noise. Right. So I like to wait till they get on a team and focus on them. But I have done the last 4 or 5 years, I want to say a better job of getting up to speed on what the possibilities are for the rookie class before they land in their landing spot, which is not something I've always done. So I hope you come back and listen for that, or listen to Matt Waldman and I every Monday on the podcast I can't say the name of here because there aren't enough. Thank you. Not enough Sorry Joes to cover. Do I feel the industry has hit a saturation point of radio shows, websites, podcasts, and magazines? I'm amazed at how many FF experts there are now. I don't know. I don't know if I really see it like that. I mean, like, yeah, I know the radio shows, like I'm on Sirius, there's only so much real estate. There are only so many shows that they can support at any one time. I've been fortunate to be on there for 13, 14 years now. And hoping for another year, but I don't know if I'll get it because it's a finite amount of airtime there that I'm fortunate to have been part of, but it's not guaranteed to anybody. So I don't know if I want to say that. I think, there's definitely a saturation point to what everybody can catch and listen to, right? Like I can't listen to everybody. I try to listen to a lot, and I do have people talking in my ear all day. I want to hear things. I don't want to pay too much attention to it because I don't want to start mimicking people. And there are people in this industry that I highly respect, and that if I'm not careful, I will lock onto their takes. Like JJ is one, Sigmund. I mean, there are many of them, Matt, but I do want to pay attention because I want to, work them into my own processes. That's part of my process, just like it's part of yours. But what you should do always is, Tony, I'm sure you do this. There are people you love and you get familiar with and you feel comfortable with. Go with that, man. And a lot of times those people will introduce you to other people that you will also become comfortable with. Right? Like, how many people over the years have I met through On the Couch and that I otherwise never would have seen before? But I watch Sigmund every week. So I see all these great voices and I can sit there and decide who I like and who I don't like. The podcasts there's a lot. So I get it, but man, freedom of choice, baby. I'm all for it. I don't know if like I do think that it's hard to get into this. It's hard to get attention in this industry at this point because there's so many of them. So I guess if you call that a saturation point, sure. I am amazed at how many FF experts there are now. I'm amazed at how many come to this very chat every single week. And I think that's how my outlook has always been. I'm not an expert. My job is to make you an expert. And so I'd like to consider myself a professional more than an expert. So I've never felt comfortable with that, but there are a lot of them out there. Here we go. Here we go. Entirely possible. I believe that to be true. Going to the bottom and see what I've missed here. Thank you, Irish. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming. Great having you here all year. Oh, Lord. Yes. I can't imagine it. I saw it for a little bit this year. Like if we had Slater and Alt back, we've got an offensive line. Aye, aye. We're all lamenting. We're all lamenting this. All right, let me go back up to where I was. Caleb Williams. Tyler Shuck might be a guy that I'm interested in. He was a guy I was interested in Dynasty this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think the thing with him and the thing that I'm looking at with quarterbacks is situations more than anything. Like I probably missed out on a lot of Jackson Dart because I didn't like the situation. Like I'm not gonna go pretend I love the Tyler Shuck, but he was cheaper. And I like the idea that Kellen Moore and the Saints invested in him. They had choices. They could have gone other ways. They invested significant capital in him. I felt like this was something they were going to do. I know he was older. Kellen Moore doesn't seem to think that's a problem. I'm not sure it's a problem either. Wasn't a problem for Bo Nix. So, but it is a deep position. I will agree with that. By the way, if you're just tuning in, hi, I'm Bob Harris. Damn glad to see you. Thanks for coming to the final weekly Ask Me Anything live stream. I will be doing things during the off season. I don't know what yet. Here on this channel or on the Audible channel or somewhere on the Football Guys platforms. Football Guys got a ton of stuff, right? The Audible with Cecil and Sig, the Fantasy Football channel with Dave and Alfredo, the Dynasty channel, Dave, Jeff Bell, and the others. The Football Guys live, where you see me, you see the trivia game, you see the Sunday pregame show. Joey Wright doing a great job with that and all his crew. So there's tons of stuff available, and we'll be doing stuff over. Like I never stop, right? Like this is a 365-day a year job for me, except for that one day. No, it's a 365-day a year job for me. So we'll be rolling. So I'll be here, and we'll be discussing these kind of issues, right? And also the radio show goes on hiatus after the Super Bowl, and like we usually in the past we did like one show a week. It was kind of nice to get on there and talk about things. I may do that here, but we do get some shows on Sirius during the off season, always part of the draft coverage, etc. Before we start up again in July. But it's been nice the last couple of years having a hiatus because I haven't always had one of those, and like having to be somewhere one certain time every week is it's kind of nice not to have that on your back after many years of that. So looking forward to that, but also looking forward to keeping the information coming. I think one of the things that you'll see if you go to the Football Guys website, I love doing the fantasy notebook in the off season. I dig deep into things. I'll pick the coaching changes will start Monday. Black Monday will hit, and coaches will be fired. Changes will come. There's always a ton of turnover at the offensive coordinator position, which to me is the most important for our purposes, right? Who's going to be calling the plays? What's the approach? What's the philosophy? How do they jive with the head coach's philosophy? How is all that going to work out? How does it meld with the personnel? I usually do a deep dive on every single coordinator change over the course of the season, and I kind of incorporate other stuff with it, but that's usually the anchor piece of the fantasy notebook. I love that. I mean, that's like, inject that, please. I love doing that, and I think it's useful information. I build on it. I've referred back to it all year. Some good stuff in there. A lot of JJ McCarthy talk. I hope he gets it going too. Again, do you have faith in Kevin O'Connell? Maybe so. I don't know. I don't. So I think O'Connell's fine. I really do. I just think they need to get this going. I talked to Matthew Collar from the Purple Insider a fair amount during the course of the season. And I know he kind of reminded me at one point in the middle of the year, like, not everyone develops at the same rate, right? That people's developments go, and like the Vikings realize that what his development is, and they're working at his rate, and they're being patient with him, which is all well and good for them, not as well and good for us. Not wasn't well and good for them this year, but we'll see where it goes. I do have faith in the coaching staff, though. I've heard this. CMC drafting was beautiful. Two of my three championships were based on him. Third is an SFB rules dynasty. Oh wow, where I went from 101 to champ, where May Puka, Monroe St. Brown, and many tight ends were key. That's fantastic, Dame. I'm not surprised. I think this is something that one of my resolutions, like focus on the roles, right? Like the Christian McCaffrey role in Kyle Shanahan's offense is a model, right? We see what it means for the player. Even on weeks where he doesn't have the huge high end, those big splash plays or anything, he's just going to keep grinding. The volume is going to carry him. It did in 2023 when he's fully healthy. It did in 2024. He wasn't healthy. It did this year. Even on games where he didn't have them, the big splash plays, he still showed up just about every week. I'm with you, Dame. These are the kind of players I'm going to be focusing on. Players with these kind of roles that are that set them up for success, right? Anything can happen any given week. But McCaffrey is the poster boy for this is the kind of role I want. Like there aren't a lot of them out there, and so you've got to figure out what they are and prioritize them, put them in an order. I'll be working on that this year for sure. I kind of work on that every year, but that's going to be a focus for me. Hampton, Harvey, Henderson are a bit of a warning to me. Much excitement, always. Incumbents were clearly still ahead of them. Absolutely true. Kyle Monangai, as much as we wanted him to be a thing in season as well. Not that takeovers won't happen, but injuries should help to expedite. That's yes. But running back is a position I think where we have the most expectations of that, right? Running back is like that position where somebody can just walk in almost off the street, or roll off the couch, says CJ Anderson, a time or two, right, in his career, and come in and just be dominant, right? Just get the job done. Circumstances can dictate that. But yes, I think we do get, going back to what we discussed a little earlier. I mean, we tend to be early. Fantasy football investors tend to be early on everything, right? So what didn't happen this year, don't be afraid to reinvest next year. I like shiny new toys. And Tampa Bay were banned. Yep, they never did. They just never resolved. In Tampa Bay's case, probably Bucky Irving's injury was a big factor in that. And in Pittsburgh's case, Gainwell just being really good was the problem. All right, that was horrible. Marion Hampton was another one. I mean, we knew, I felt like we were paying about the right price for him, even when Najee Harris was there. But I think, or was in the picture. But I think we've seen the upside there. He could be huge. Yes. That right there. That whole offense. All the pieces are there, man. And I'm like the Justin Herbert discussion earlier. I think Justin Herbert is insanely good quarterback. He's just insanely good. And now they have the basis of a pretty good receiving core. We'll see, even assuming Keenan Allen moves on. I think with Trey Harris joining Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, Lambert Smith seems to be a speed burner who can make a play. Oronde Gadsden looks like he has a future. So a lot to like there. Genty or Hampton, who has the better career? I mean, right now, if you ask me, the thing about NFL is turnarounds can happen fast. I talked about this before on this very, very broadcast many times, but there's three pieces: coach, GM, quarterback. Team can lock those pieces in, find that right combination. They can turn things around almost immediately, on a dime. Right? I think New England, latest example of that, but many, many examples. right? I think Houston's an example of that. We'll see where it goes, but I mean, they found the right pieces. Minnesota, they got two of those pieces. Detroit, they have those pieces, right? Like when you get those pieces, it can all fall in place really quick. So we'll see if the Raiders can figure that out. Chargers have a lot of those pieces, though. A lot of those pieces right now. A lot of those pieces. What could have been indeed. Mr. Scampers met Jalen Warren on the Legends of Steelers cruise last year. Great guy who would play every down. If you cut Arthur Smith and maybe Tomlin, you began using Gamewell. Gamewell's better. He's a really good receiver. I think it's like I've had a hard time with Jalen Warren throughout, right? Like he's always going to be a complimentary player. I thought he would be the lead player this year. Maybe we just have to come to grips that he is the complimentary player. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I mean, honestly, if we look at the year-to-date totals, it's not that horrible for either of them. For him as well. This as well. I mean, this may take a coaching change. This may take, all due respect to John Spytek, maybe Tom Brady needs to take a more direct role. Maybe he already is, and we don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I have to see what the Raiders do. Like, is Pete Carroll locked to come back next year? Or, like, maybe the game is passed by. Is that possible? The rookie running back gets the love. The love gets the love. Always been major injuries derailing the Bolts. Yes. Denzel Boston, I've heard this. Yep. Situations. I think one of the great things about the RSP is it tells you what kind of schemes players can excel in, all the things you're interested in, right? I think that's very important. And that's what I always say. Like the draft is the green flag, right? Like, I know the competition, I know the scheme, I know the supporting cast, I know all the things I need to know. Then all the dots are there for me to connect however I want to connect them. Until then, connecting dots is like, okay, he's really good. Okay, he's really big. Okay, he's really fast. What's he gonna do? I don't know until he gets on the team. Green flag. I mean, I get the interest. Like, and I've gained more interest at over the years, especially the last couple of years working on the uh, on the rookie draft guide. I mean, like, I'm a, like a I'm an early adopter of the RSP. I started doing it the year it came out, but I think working directly on the rookie draft guide has been very helpful to me. I'm going to be doing something during the off season. I don't know that I'll be doing a chat every week, maybe every month, right? Like I'll have to talk. We'll have talks here in the coming week about what the off season content schedule will be, Jim. I'll put it on my Twitter. If you subscribe to this channel or all the Football Guys channels and hit the notification bell, Yard Guy Day, you'll be able to keep up with all of it. If you subscribe to the Football Guys daily email update, that will help you keep up to speed with it as well. But my X feed will always be one way to keep on top of things. I'll put notices there and keep my plans, on there. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate your support and appreciate you listening. It's man, this is what makes it all worthwhile. It's having people who kind of have that little community that we built, especially here on this live, but like also on the radio and with my writing for many years now, the magazines. It's all been fantastic, and man, just how fortunate I have carved out this job and have people pay enough attention that I can keep doing it. It's fantastic. Yes. Don't say it all. Yes. Yeah, there will be many mock drafts, and there will be many mock drafts on the radio. When we're on, we'll be doing some. We're going to do a mock draft Monday, I think, in the next week or two already, Dempsey and I. So be ready for that. But yeah, I think there'll be some Football Guys mock drafts. We had some leagues too as well. I think you can expect more of that. Thank you, Irish. I appreciate that. I like the. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. Like I just don't trust Bryce Young. I think this one is a legit toss up. I'm going to go with the 49ers over the Seahawks. Too much offense. Seahawks have a good defense. They can slow them down. That'll be the key. But those are my teams. I'll go Bucks and 49ers. I think you both the home teams. Is it time for the first Diehards Listener League best ball draft? No. The best ball rooms don't open until February. But we'll start putting out. You'll probably see those on X more than on the show because we'll be done with the show right when those open. But we did cobble a bunch together last year. I know Royal was in some of them. So, yes, they're coming. They're coming. Oh, I should have clicked that. That, Bob Dickens. Hello, Jeff Bolt. Maybe that may be a thing that happens. That's probably more likely than like an every Saturday thing. But yeah, have not planned everything out yet, Jeff. So I'm gonna get the rest of this week and then sort out. We have meetings coming up next week, some football guys stuff, and we'll start sorting that out and seeing what work didn't work, what our schedule wants to be, all that stuff. So it takes a few minutes. I need to stop and breathe for a brief moment. I need to watch a movie or a show or something. I got to catch up on the Stranger Things, right? Sounds like San Francisco, Seattle is the first regular season finale where both teams are on a 6-game winning streak. That's interesting. And yes, it's an exciting game. I'm looking forward to both games tonight. Here's a Southern California team back in East in January. What could go wrong? Oh, my goodness. All right. Let's see if we can get that together. Hit me up on the X about it. What's there to learn from Bill? Yeah, well, no, not coaches. Like that was almost a totally writer driven narrative. People saw what they saw, right? Like, and I don't want to sit here and defend anybody's views. And I can tell you, Ben Standig was one of the first guys that was on Cross Game Merit. He was the first guy to say like Brian Robinson's probably expendable. He said that like in June or something. And it was based on what they were seeing of Bill in workouts. I mean, Bill just looked fantastic in workouts. Here's what Ben Standig told me when I hit him up late in the season. Said, "Okay, man, it's not working. What the hell happened?" And his argument is that offense in general wasn't what it was supposed to be because of injuries to Jaden Daniels, because of injuries to Terry McLaurin, and I don't know that it's not a totally unfair point, right? Like maybe there was based on, hey, all these pieces, the offense working in X manner really suits Corey Cross-Game Merritt well. Like we've seen flashes of Corey Cross-Game Merritt, but that was one I will say that was almost entirely beat writer driven, not coaches. I don't think. I don't hardly remember anyone talking about it except the beat writers. They were going cray. May see him today or tomorrow. We'll see if they elevate him off, activate him from IR. Like we all think it's going to be Jaden Blue. Could end up being as much. I mean, like, why do I expect Jaden Blue to suddenly be a thing? I mean, again, it's running back. That's the only reason. It's because it's running back. Lessons learned from 2025. You have to have a rock solid team score most points. This is true, Jeff Bolt. The way Washington handled their backfield was bizarre. I will agree with that. Blue was another surprise, never contributed. Javonte Williams, big surprise, right? I was drafting all those guys in the same range. Blue, Bigsby, Javonte, Bashal Tootin, all those guys were going in that same range. We'll see about that. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, maybe some things do need to change. Never believe the projections. Never believe the projections. Don't panic. Great games coming. All right, I'm about out of time here. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what my big resolution is. Every year, it's pay attention to the resolutions I make, which is, like we all learn lessons from the season, and I'll go through them, and at some point, I'll either write about them, or I'll come and do a live about them, or I'll do a video about them. But this year, like every year, I feel like I learn these lessons. I plan to implement them. I start out early implementing them, like in the early best balls. But by the time the season rolls around, I've already fallen back on my old habits, like my old ways. The 35, 6 years of fantasy football playing, I tend to fall back on those. I just do. I need to not do that. I need to keep moving forward, right? I think that's going to be a big thing for me. I think we'd all be interested in that league. Jim, you keep me posted on the X. I would appreciate it. And thanks everybody again. Look forward to the next time we meet. Watch my X feed. Watch your notifications from the YouTube channel. They will all come back. Really appreciate you, Dame. Great supporters. You and Scampers both have been phenomenal. Look forward to seeing you this year in Canton, I'm hoping. Thanks, Irish. And thanks, Yard guys, making a final appearance. Scott Against Evil. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you all very much. It's been a fantastic year. Love doing this hour every Saturday. I look forward to doing it again next year and some of this off season. Again, keep your eye on the notifications. I'm Bob Harris. Good luck this week. Over and out.